Alright, so for today we can continue on the multiplayer game that we tried to implement. So maybe as a small example of how it worked, I guess, let me just make game. Should be in build game server. Alright, this is the server. It just listens for clients, right? And then the game client starts up like an UI instance with Raylib running, rendering the game, right? And you can move around with WSD. And then if you spawn another client, it creates a new player that everyone can see. And I mean, the goal for now is to collect the coins basically, right? And yeah, what I want to do is not allow the player to go out of bounds, so because like this breaks the game, and probably wrap him around the screen, let's say, right? And then add an UI with a score so that, you know, players are incentivized to run around collecting the coins or something. So yeah, basically that's the plan, right? To make the players you know, have an objective basically, so, or I mean a better objective, let's say. So yeah, and we also have to handle the closing of the clients and stuff, but that's we'll leave that at the end, I guess. So let's see. Basically we don't have to change anything on the client. I guess the client is fine for now. Well, we'll add the UI, but like from the logic perspective, it's fine, right? So here basically when we update the player position on the server, here we just set it to you know, position minus how big the step is. So we want to change that, or I guess not necessarily change it, but yeah, I mean, I guess what we need to do is to set this min x and max x and whatever also on the player, probably also cell size. We need these on the player as well. X, is it like this? Yeah, let me just copy paste this. I guess also the size. So let's initialize everything. Right, so we have the size, which is the size of one cell. I guess it could be different than the player size, so that's why I'm sending it separately. Then we have the minimum x and y, also maximum, and these are like the boundaries of the screen. And I don't know how to not have as many attributes, but it's I think it's fine. Probably like yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's probably fine. So the idea would be to change these, like maybe instead of doing pose x minus size x, to try and wrap this around. So I guess we can do that by like, yeah, we can do it afterwards or beforehand, right? Like we can add to this thing, we can add the screen width and then modulo by screen width. So that would wrap it around. Okay, the idea would be to have something like plus cell size times, I guess the difference between max I guess that makes sense, and then we modulo by the same thing. So is it the same for this one though? I think for this one we actually want to subtract, but I guess we want to subtract from this thing, so from the screen width we want to minus, but we want to minus the whole thing. So yeah, just to make it in the reverse order basically. So let's try to modulo this and let's see if this changes anything. Okay, oh, so yeah, now when we do init, don't even know where it is. I think, yeah, we'll copy paste this obviously, although second, yeah, it should be when we create a player, where we create the player here. Okay, so I would probably do something like this, right? Because it's gonna be the same thing as the coin. So yeah, and sure, when we spawn the player, we might want to use a random position here. So yeah, we can use that, like this thing, set the position to something random, I guess. We can even do that inside of here, although I don't know. This feels like it's init. Maybe we can have a random, and let's say it's gonna be self type, and let's say that this thing just sets the position to be random basically, right? So we also have to return self. I think it's the same thing as the one from coin. Where is that? Oh yeah, I mean pretty similar. So we create a player and then we can call random on it. This will randomize its position. So yeah, right, perfect. So now if we try to rerun and rebuild the game, game client, we have a random position. Doesn't really work as I expected. I guess I guess we can use ifs then. I mean, it's easier anyways. So no, I mean I tried, but it didn't want to work. So the next easy thing to do, I guess, is to check basically something like this. If position x is gonna be less than 0, or I guess is less than min x times cell size, sure, almost forgot about it, then we want to make it equal to, I guess we have two options. We wrap around, or we not move, let's say. We can try both and see how it works. And on the if case, if it's larger than cell size, we wrap around in this direction. I guess on the else branch, let me just, I think I like it more if it's like this. And I mean, on the else branch we don't do anything, I guess. So let's see if this actually works. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. We only have smaller than POSIX. Huh. Wait, what? On line 71. Wait. I don't know why I put a minus. Anyway, let's see what happens now. Client. Right, so if we go out of bounds, it just wraps around. I mean, I don't really like that the modulo didn't work. I mean, that's a bit sad. Okay, let's put another one, see if everything works. So yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, maybe we'll do something like if you run into someone and you have more points than you deal damage, or I don't know, something. Yeah, we'll see about the interaction with other players, because right now we don't have any. So let's copy paste this part, and I think we can just replace x, I mean, I guess underscore x with underscore y. I think it looks good. Oh, let's remake. Okay, perfect. Game client. So now if we go up and down, it also wraps around. Okay, perfect. I mean, it's pretty good. Okay. Alright, so we did the player position. We fixed the players moving out of bounds, so that's fixed. Right, I mean, I can just, I guess, make a small commit, fix players out of bounds, whatever. Then let's add a new message in our messages. Right, I mean, we need multiple messages, but let's just make the one for score, I guess. And I'm wondering, how do we want to make it? Do we want to display the score of everyone or just the score of the player? Oh, and another thing is we should display the current player with a different color. I think that's more important. And, yeah, I think that's more important. Just realize that everyone is black, and probably we should make, you know, the current player blue and the rest red or something. So yeah, I guess when we draw we can also send in the color, maybe, because here we do player draw, and I guess we can send in the color. So color is gonna be a color, and let's say this is gonna be color. I think actually that we used color, but basically if the player dot player ID is equal to player ID, and player ID is the current player in this class, so we store that, and this is the ID of the instance of this player, right? So if it's the current player, then we do raylib dot, I would do green, and let's do the enemy is red, I guess. So if we check raylib, yeah, we don't have those colors, so let's add them. Green. So we have red and green. Right, let's steal this. It's like, I don't think it matters the order. Okay. So we have red, which is a color, and I guess it's, yeah, it's this one, and green, which is gonna be 0 to 8, yeah. Okay, so now we have different colors. I mean, I think that's a bit important. So the current player is gonna be green, and the enemies are gonna be red. Yeah. And I'm just thinking, maybe we can display the score on top of the player or something. So yeah, I mean, let me just say here that we change the color, so fix change color of current player. Right. Anyway, now let's go back to messages. So we have still, I think, 2 messages to add, or I guess it's gonna be 3 messages. I don't know. It's gonna be like the messages for the score and also the messages for disconnect. But yeah, let's do the message for score. So I just want to see that. So player score inherits message. And yeah, basically this is gonna be interesting I guess we want to make it the same as player position and stuff, so we're gonna have the player ID and the score, so something like this, 8 bytes for the score, and probably this should have something like this. This is gonna be score and it's gonna be an int. So let's also steal the init, right? Init is gonna take in an ID and the score, and now we need to do serialize and deserialize. So yeah, pretty standard. So we serialize the ID, then we have to serialize the score, right? So we concat s, and deserializing let me just take a bigger example. So yeah, so we have to deserialize the score just like this. Here we create a new player score dot init ID and s, and the rest of the string is going to be from, I think, 16. Yeah, so this is going to be our player score message. Perfect. Okay, we have to not forget to add it here, so else if kind is equal to 5, then we deserialize the player score. Okay, now let's go back to the server inside of here, and I guess we need to do the score message. So this thing is a player, right? So I guess we just send it. So let's see how player update works. I guess update position just sends the thing. So we can say lobby.broadcast new player score dot init, and we add this stuff, and I mean it's broadcast, right? So this will actually send the score. Perfect, or at least it should send the score. So let's see where we read stuff inside of the client. So here we handle the messages, like reading the messages. So if the next message is player score, then we need to score player. So let's add, I guess we'll have something like this, like player update. Player score. So we again go to all the players until we reach void, right? If we find a player, then actually we need to check, yeah, the message player ID. Perfect. And if they're equal, we need to set the score. So set score, I guess, and let me just see. So update takes in this stuff. I guess we can say update score, and update score is gonna take in the entire message. Maybe we send something more at another time, or I don't know, something like that. So update score, perfect. Well, I mean score player, score update. Okay, anyway. So let's go ahead and implement actually update score is gonna take in player score, and we need to keep the score in here. So actually we need to say that score is okay, and I think I didn't add a getter for score. I think all of these, yeah, all of these have. So score is just gonna return score. So this takes that. And as I said, I think we want to draw the score on the player itself. So let's see, raylib text. I mean, let's see how it looks like if we do that. Yeah, obviously didn't compile. So we don't have player ID in score. Perfect. That's understandable. We need player ID. So let's also add. And let's add both of them. So now if we try this, oh, I mean it's a bit scuffed, but it actually displays the right score. I'm curious if, yeah, no, it's not updated at first. So it only updates once you get at least one. So what we might want to do inside of server is that when we spawn a new player, or I guess when a new player connects, we want to also broadcast the score of all other players. So I guess it's inside of here. So basically, yeah, like we send player connected, and player score. I guess something like this. Yeah, player score, sure. We might want to have a getter for score. That's everything. But yeah, once a player connects, we also send the score to the guy that just connected. So that's like this takes something, takes another thing, and now someone connects. They should be able to see the score. Sure, I would like to make it centered, but Yeah. Okay, I mean, looks like it works. So let's go back to the client. So here, this represents the, I guess, top left corner. So what if we draw at XY? Is that gonna be the center? I mean, almost. I guess it's because of how like probably the text also starts from top left corner, so we might have to add something to add minus 10, because it's gonna be half of the text, so probably this should center it like that. And I think the next one will depend also on the score length. Oh yeah, because score is an int. So like here I would say minus 10 again, because it's font size 20, but I'm not sure if yeah, I guess I'm not sure how we can center the text. Can we maybe find something really center text? I mean, it doesn't really look centered. So really.h, there is something, measure string size. I guess this is probably something that we need. Text drawing functions, and this is measure text. Oh, nice. So we have to add more stuff to our library. So text drawing, and this is text info. So measure text is gonna take in the text, the font size, and it's gonna return us probably the string width for default font, because that's what we use. So let's now go to ASM. Let's search for draw text. And I guess I didn't really read from the whoa. Yeah, I guess these are just in the order that I added. I guess let's just do the basic and copy paste this. Right, it's gonna be measure text. We also need to say measure text, right? Okay, so here inside of arraylib.cl we take in the string as like text and font size. So string and font size, which is an int, and returns the int, basically the width. So this is measure text, right? Let's also take this and I guess we want to do the same thing almost. So we take in the first argument, the second one, and here we call to measure text, and I guess we saved the result. Then we create a new integer and set the value. Yeah, I think this looks fine. Okay, so let's go back to client.cl, and here we probably should say something like arraylib, well, let text string is gonna be this, text, pretty strange, pause. I mean, I like it better with text x, text y, oh no, minus, yeah, sure, whatever, text x, text y. I mean, let's also do font size because it might be better. Font size divided by 2 and font size, right? So now if we rebuild this, okay, the text should be in the center, and I'm curious what if we collect a lot of coins and get to, I guess, 10, what will happen? Okay, I think it looks still fine. Kind of. Probably once you get to 100 you can maybe see if it really works. So yeah, like 2 is in the middle, but 0 is not. Interesting. Well, I mean, it is what it is. Here we should probably use text. Let's go on the server and then increase, wait, what? Oh my god, I have to rename some of these examples. Increase, let's do plus 11 or something. Plus 12, just to make it more random. So now when we get a few of these, I meant 12 just to have more variety in the digits, I guess. Yeah, it's not really centered. So that's interesting. I'm not really sure why it's not centered. So it says that measure text string width for default font. Whatever. It's still decent. I mean, we display the score. That's more important. Because I mean, what's a bit weird is that only the first digit is centered. So. But anyway, so now we have the UI for the score. So add score UI. Alright, so I mean, yeah, now the game is a bit more playable. I guess, do we have any to do? Yeah, like add an exit condition. So, I mean, for this exit condition, I would have said that, I mean, we added the UI, so that's that. I mean, for the exit condition, I would have said that this is a good enough exit condition, but it didn't quite work because the client would block on receive, and I guess if it blocks on receive, then yeah, how can you tell that it should stop the thread? I don't know. And probably the same is true for the server. But at least I had an idea of going, not in here, but in net, in the net library. So yeah, what I was thinking is that if the buffer here is empty, it means that the server has disconnected. This is the client. It means that the server is disconnected, or I mean the server stopped. So we might as well just exit. I guess. I mean, I'm pretty sure there is a pthread function like pthread kill or something. Pthread kill, let me see. It looks like it is. Pthread kill. Oh yeah, probably we can use that to kill the threads if they're running in while true mode. But I guess the next thing is that we don't really need that, because the server will continuously, yeah, I think the server will continuously do messages, so we might not block on read on the client. So we should be fine to say this. The only thing is that we need to create, like, we might need to pass raylib into init. I mean, it's fine, I guess. Why not? So we also set raylib to R. And let's add here raylib. I mean, it's just for checking if the window should close. I think that's a good exit condition. But sure, I think we still need a message, a better message or something. I mean, here we pthread join. So I think that now, whoa, 184. So here we want to do raylib, like just a simple reference. So, okay, yeah. So something didn't work as I expected. Yeah, maybe. Not quite sure. Curious, maybe this stopped or something. Oh, I know, it's again the same issue that we had before. It's because we create a window here and we start the thread here, so we need to actually start the thread after we need the window. That was the issue before, I remember. So yeah, now we mess around, we collect some stuff, and then this closes everything. Perfect. So this is the first step, right? We have a kind of an exit condition. But what if, I guess let's see what happens if we have the client running, right? And I mean, it crashes, so it's still good. But I would like to crash maybe with a better message or something. But we need even more stuff, so we need player disconnected message probably, and yeah. So I mean, let's start with the basics, I guess. So the basic thing that we need is a new message for disconnect. So I guess we can just copy paste this one, right? Oh, and yeah, this one should be 5, I think. 5, yeah. So 6, right? And this is gonna be player disconnected, right? And it should work on both the client and the server. imagine sending player disconnected. Yeah, no, I don't think the client should be able to send this message. Imagine disconnecting other players. So I guess this is set, we don't need to change anything except this to a 6, and instead of this we need to say disconnected. Perfect, I think this is pretty decent. So now here can leave Copilot handle it, player disconnected on 6. So let's say that we this is player disconnected, right? And I'm wondering if I want to have server disconnected. I'll think about it. Yeah, we'll see. We don't really need to do this. So I think player disconnected is the message that we need, right? So let's check the net code. So as I said, here we have this client class, which in receive, it reads a buffer, right? And if this buffer is empty, it somehow means that whoever sent the bytes disconnected, basically. Like we read end of file, so we read 0 bytes, and it's no longer no longer gonna be blocking reading from that socket. It's always gonna return end of file. So yeah, like we know for sure that whoever sent, like whoever was on the other side, disconnected. So, and it's the same for this receive. So what I would do in this case is that if the buffer is empty, we cannot really try to deserialize it, because it's gonna be, it's gonna be empty, right? I guess actually we can deserialize it, but it has different behaviors on each side. I guess, like, if we deserialize, does it though? Yeah, I think I can handle it without needing to change this. So if we go to I would probably have to do like disconnected message, and that I'm not sure if I want to do it here. Yeah, no. Let's just say that, yeah, I really don't know. Like if I want to handle that case in net.cl, or if I want to leave it for whoever is implementing this serialize to handle it. That's a good question. Like, do we want to return null from receive, or do we want to leave the user of this library create their own message for reading empty? That's a good point. I mean, probably what we can do let me check message, and in here we just abort. So yeah, to be honest, I was thinking, well, if the buffer is empty, then we do a new message, and we can have a message like disconnected, let's say, or like client disconnected and server disconnected. I mean, could be fine, just to show us an example of but even then we don't even have serialize and deserialize for them. They are just disconnected and connected. Yeah, I mean, sure, let's try to do that. So we can have something like class disconnected message. That's why I think we don't even need to separate them. Inherits message. So as I said, I don't even think we need any implementation. Right, and what we actually need to do, I overshoot it? I guess so. In here is basically an if statement for this. So if buffer is equal to empty, then something will see what we do, else we run this. And in the something, let's check tuple. Oh, wait, where is class tuple? It's in prelude. Okay, so we have init. So we can do new tuple dot init, new disconnected message, and empty string. I think this is how we want to do it. So basically, yeah, it's gonna set the buffer to empty and the message to new disconnected message. I think this looks good. Okay. So we'll just have to handle disconnected message. And in this case, I think it's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. So as I said, we just have to handle disconnected message. Yeah, sure, I'm happy with this one. So let's go in the client. So for getting, like, I don't think receive will crash anymore. I don't see how. Right, I mean, it can still be blocking, but it shouldn't really crash. Alright, so another thing that I'm pretty sure we want is keep running is gonna be a boolean. True. And I had a really nice idea. What if we have keep running function that returns, well, I mean, it's the same thing. So basically, if message disconnected message, it is disconnected message, yeah, then we set keep running to false. Here it's interesting, we don't really know what we got, so we can maybe say, I mean, we can even make an new IO unknown message, and maybe even abort. Or we can just abort it. Like in any other case. Okay, and here we say and keep running. I think this should work. So like if we now try to recompile, build a server, build a client, like if we try to stop the server, it's gonna just stop. I mean, it looks like it exited with non-zero, but I guess that's just because it's a, you know, cool program stuff. So yeah, I think that's fine, and it returns like trash here. Not sure though. New IO, closing plan. Let's show a nicer message. So what if this stops? Interesting, it doesn't really say that. So let's but I mean, I guess what happens is this will basically stop, right? So this will stop the thread, but this will still continue running. So I might add here a check inside of netcode, you know, that checks if the client is open or not. Or maybe we should add client close method. Like maybe we should have a close method. I haven't added that yet. So close, I think it should be pretty simple. I think it should be just, oh, but I don't know if we have close. Oh, we do. Then perfect, we do. So yeah, then we can call to close. Might be able to do that, right? So keep running is gonna be false, and probably we want to say something like client close, right? We want to close the client, the connection to the server. And maybe in the main loop we will have something like is closed on the client. So netcode is closed is going to be a boolean, and this is the getter. And I would say that it's true in the beginning, and it's being set like in here is close is being set to false, this is being set to true, and in here we set it back to is closed is equal to true. So I think this is how we want to do it. And now if we go back to the client, you can say here and client is closed is equal to false. I mean, it's pretty weird that I don't use not. Not window should close, and not this is more like not this or this. So I forgot whose rule was that. Morgan's stuff. Anyway, yeah, so I think now I just want to get an exit code of 0 basically. Okay, perfect, we get exit code of 0. It says closing client. Yeah, I think it's good now on the client side. The other thing that we want to handle is, but for now let's not think about it. Let's go on the server, and here is gonna be more interesting. Here is gonna be a bit more interesting because where do we handle the messages? What? Oh, we handle the messages here inside of the player themselves. So that's interesting. It means that let's do an abort here, so we force something to happen. Like we want to see what happens, for example, if we run the client, right? We stop the client and it's gonna abort, right? Because it received the disconnected message, but we don't handle it. So how can we handle it? I guess with keep running. Sure, with keep running. And probably we should add a function inside of player lobby which does something. So we want to say lobby remove player ID. I think this is how we want to do it. And keep running is gonna be a boolean, so let's add keep running, and here we have while keep running. Perfect. While keep running, here it becomes false, and we say lobby remove player. Right, now if we try to recompile this thing, it's gonna complain that we don't have a remove player. Obviously the compiler segmentation faults, but it is what it is. So undefined method remove player. Let's define that. Why not? So interesting while true loop. Okay, remove player then. Let's see. No, I don't think I want to send in the entire player structure. I think I want to send in just the player ID. So let's see how we can do that. So then remove player. We're gonna have a player ID, and I think this can return object, like we don't really care about it. Right. Let's do make again. Okay, we have to add something inside. So like we have to do something for this to work. But now at least we have the method, right? How can we remove the player basically? One idea that I have is to just iterate over the linked list, replace the player with the next. I think that's easy enough of an idea. Like we are gonna iterate over all the players. If the player ID is equal to the ID that we got, we remove the player. And basically removing the player is just setting the previous, yeah, I mean, you know, removing an item from a linked list. So, and like the other option would be to set that thing to a new object. But that's, I mean, that works obviously, but it's not something that I would like, I guess. So let's actually do this thing, and basically we want some kind of loop over all the players. Right, then we try to take the value, but we want two iterators. So we kind of want the like iter and next iter. Right, next iter is gonna be players next. So how can we actually use this? It's interesting. I mean, if it's the first one. Yeah, no, I guess we need previous. Which should be, I mean, it should still be a list. But initially it's gonna be void, right? Initially it's gonna be void. So we have the current cell in iterator and the previous one in previous. So while we didn't reach void yet with iterator, we take the value. Oh, I mean, the first thing is going to be an object, so maybe we can play around that. Okay, then iterator is gonna be iterator.next because the first thing is an object, and previous is gonna be players. So basically this should never happen then, and I think that's a good thing. I don't think it should happen. Okay, anyway, so basically what should happen inside of this branch, we should check if the player, so if the player ID is equal to the player ID that we got, then we want to and it's crap, but what we actually want to do is probably say something like previous set next. Like, would be nice if you can say previous set next, iter next, right? And then maybe pthread join for player ID. But wait, is it? I don't think it is though. Wait, what's the pthread? So when we spawn the player thread, we say player thread. Where do we use this thing? Oh, we never use it. So then let's go on the players structure and let's add here thread ID and maybe tid is going to be an int on here. We set it, and yeah, now thread ID. Now it actually makes sense that in here we actually send in the entire structure, so we send in self. So when we remove player, we get in a player. So let's say this is gonna be P. Whoa. Player ID. This can remain P. So here we want to join player dot thread ID. I guess we need this function set next. So let's go into list and let's add a set next, which should be pretty simple. Alright, so it's a setter for next. I guess we can move it right next to the property itself. Okay, so yeah, basically this removes item and this joins the thread, so it's gonna stop it. Right, I think that's the first step. Right, this sets keep running to false, this removes the player, and the next step is to broadcast the player disconnect, because I don't think we can see anything. I mean, let's check what happens. Oh, 249. Okay, I guess. Oh my god. oh, when we create the new player. Oh no, this sucks. So we cannot really set the TID from here. We need set thread ID. Yeah. So I mean, obviously this should return cert type. I don't know why this is so scuffed. Like, bruh, Copilot, I did so many examples so far of this. Anyway, so as I was saying, like, player depends on thread and thread depends on player. So I mean, we can redefine it like this. So yeah, now we have the right stuff. Okay, and it actually compiled. That's nice. And what if we run a client? Let's say we play around a bit. It got disconnected. We don't see a message yet. So maybe let's say new IO, client disconnected. It should be like the same kind of message that we... Okay, perfect. We actually get the client disconnected message. Should we put it here maybe? Right? And the next thing is to broadcast the player disconnected. So after the thread join, I guess we should say player disconnected. Yeah, player disconnected, we have it here. Do we have this? No, it's only here. So the player disconnected and the player ID is p player ID, something like that. Okay, and I think I forgot something. Oh my god. I think this, yeah. Player disconnected, right? We have to probably do something on, oh yeah, on the lobby, obviously. So remove player, right? You have to remove the player, and I guess that's it. Yes, have to remove the player from our list. So now just let's pretend that I didn't copy paste that, and let's put it here. So remove player is gonna take in a player disconnected message. Player disconnected is gonna be a message, right? Yeah, just a message. So we have to iterate all the players again, the same thing, all the players. Hopefully we don't delete ourselves. Okay. And what do we have to do? Iterate this stuff, p, and here we can say message, which is just the ID. And here we say, like, if the items ID is equal to message player ID, we delete it. We don't have any threads to join, no messages, maybe just, yeah, maybe just that. So okay, so let's build this. Let's build a client. If we disconnect, it appears as disconnected. still works even after we connect like this. And here we get another player if this disconnects. Player 6 disconnected, but where is the oh, and this one blocked. Okay, so something happened, like it didn't really print this. We didn't see it printing client disconnected, so I wonder why, I guess. So let's check in server. I guess this broadcasts, like there's no question about it. So let's new IO out string player disconnected message, whatever, just something there, just to see something. Alright, so we create a client, we create another client, both of them are connected. If we close this, closing client, what the fuck? If we close the first one, okay, whoa. And this one seems like it blocked, so it's pretty scuffed. Like sometimes we got a message, sometimes we didn't. Wow. Let's see why that would happen. So I guess on the server we run this thing, right? Like we should, it's 100% that we should get this. And like the messages from this were looking fine. 4 disconnected, 5 disconnected. Oh, we didn't see a message for 6 that it disconnected. Although, did we disconnect 6? I don't remember. Let's try again. So let's run the client. Oh my god. Let's just move it to... Wait, am I... Okay, so we create this one, and I guess let's just try to close 4. So it just fucking died. Right here it said closing client, so it closed it. But this just died. So why would that happen? Let me just new IO. Checking whatever. Maybe it's because of how we remove stuff from the list. Might be. Checking 4, 4 disconnected, then checking 5 because why not. Looks like this time it worked. Could it be the classical case of printfs make it work? Whoa, see, it didn't even show that. Window closed successfully. But when I closed this one, it just died before. This thing is making fun. Okay, so we created the first one. Let's create the second one. Now what happens if we close the first one? Yeah, but even though it disconnected, like it also deleted my player. Anyway, that's not really important right now. What I'm not sure about is why does it crash when I don't have printfs, right? That's the better question. So we don't have printfs. Oh, it actually, bruh, this sucks. Might be some race conditions and shit. So yeah, I mean, let's pretend that it works for now, and let's see, like, why would it? So this runs on a separate thread, right? It gets the disconnected message, so it wants to remove player. It wants to remove the player, so it's gonna go in remove player. It's gonna go here and it's gonna try to remove an item from the list. Well, what happens if at the same time on another thread we iterate the list, right? And for some reason next will, I don't know, jump to void, and this causes a segmentation fault or something. So that's maybe, like, what if notice void passes because it's true, but at the same time when you do iter next, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it can happen, right? To have a race condition in here with this, because this changes memory and this reads memory. So I mean, this changes. So then what if instead of deleting the item we just set it to object? Somehow, I mean, I'm not really, I don't think I want to implement mutex yet. It would be too meh, to be honest. So yeah, what if instead of like, I guess instead of deleting, we just, you know, pthread join it, like we stop it, so the thread is gonna be stopped, it's no longer gonna do run and stuff. Alright, So what if we just don't delete it? We don't delete it from the server, we still keep it, like we don't care about it. I mean, the socket file descriptor, I saw that it keeps increasing, so it's not an issue that we are gonna reuse the socket. So what if we just keep the item in the list? Here we just pthread join it, so we stop the thread because it said keep running to false, right? We broadcast to everyone that it disconnected, so we know to ignore the messages for it and whatever, show the disconnected message. So let's see. And in this case, whatever, we still send messages for it even though we don't care about it. Maybe we can implement something like reconnecting. So yeah, I mean the threads are gonna be cleaned up, right? They're gonna be cleaned up. Probably not. We still have to think about it. Maybe we can set, yeah, like maybe set the player to object. I don't know, something like this to ignore it. Or maybe set some field on it to complete it. Or killed. I mean, it has the keep running. So we don't even need to do that. So it has keep running. So it already has keep running set to false. So we already know that, for example, in here, we broadcast that, we send the client whatever, and here if we have a player, and basically if keep running is true, then we do this stuff, else we don't do it. So if player dot keep running, then we do this, otherwise we don't do anything, so like 0, and we don't even need the squarely braces. So I think this is fine. Like we broadcast the message to everyone, right? Doesn't matter. Then we send the player authorized to the player. Then we iterate all the players. If the player is set to keep running, then it means that, I guess, the player should be taken into account. Then we open the player, sing whatever crap, and yeah. Basically, I mean, I can even do something even better than that. So here we send the messages, right? But what if I change this to work only when keep running is set to true? So this tries to send the message. I mean, whatever. Let's see. So probably this shouldn't. Right, so here we just remove the player. Okay, join the thread, broadcast, whatever. And inside of client, okay, we don't need this anymore. Well, actually, okay, I mean, let's test it. So we have the first one and the second one. So what happens if we it got a disconnected message, which is good, right? Obviously. and it disconnected client 4, so that's good. That makes sense. So I guess we don't need this anymore. Probably that's fine. Wow. But I think, okay, so player update, whatever, and in remove player, I guess again we can do something like keep running on the player thing. So keep running and set keep running. Right, we need this thing. And what if, okay, let's think about it, because draw is gonna happen here, right? So I don't really like this. What if we do iter, no, p dot set keep running to false, so like we don't even need previous, and we just say that the shared disconnected. So this is gonna be players, right? This can be players. Okay, so players while is not void. Oh, it's because I wasn't even setting previous. Yeah. Okay, so that was the reason. Like I set previous to players, but I never said previous equals to previous next. Oh my god. But then again, isn't it an issue with this? Like, it feels like if I do this thing, right, it feels like keep running. I mean, for some reason it feels like it can cause race conditions though. Well, I mean, right, like it feels like it can cause race conditions. Whoa, let me just, the fuck, is it? Oh, no. I said that we can do actually like this, right? If player keep running. We do this, and in here I said that we don't even need previous. So let's see. So remove player is just gonna pthread join and broadcast the disconnect. Also display a message. Doesn't do anything on the list itself. Doesn't do anything on the list. Broadcast whatever, just sends to everyone. Here again we can have something like, if it's disconnected it doesn't send. But I'm curious if that matters though. So let's have the client, let's have another client, let's disconnect. This disconnects everyone because this crashes. So I guess it matters then if we try to send to a closed socket. So yeah, maybe we need this. Maybe we need to check if player keep running, then send, else 0. So probably like this. Oh, but we don't have I got this wrong. Should do it here. L0. So yeah, when we broadcast, we only take into account players that are running. Really scuffed, but it's fine. Where does receive happen? So on the object itself. Okay, then it shouldn't matter. Okay, if we run a client, then we run another one. Okay, it disappeared on this. This can still work. That's good. Wow. Spawn another one. It just spawned. This is the score. Let's say that this exits and it just died. All right, so let's see. More shitty stuff here. I guess where could the problem be? I mean, it's clearly not with the client because the client doesn't do anything interesting. It just closes its connection. But yeah, I'm really not sure where the segmentation fault happens. Alright, like in remove player, we literally just pthread join it. So we don't do anything important. And this is just broadcasting the player ID. It's just broadcasting the ID. Okay, I mean, I'll do one more thing. Just try to connect multiple times with a single client. So we can see that this works, right? Like if this works, it means that with a single client it's fine. But why does it break when we have multiple clients? Okay, so when we close this one that we just spawned, it's fine. But if we close the first one, I mean, sometimes fine, sometimes not. So like here, this is player authorize 18. So it says closing client, but it didn't get a message of like the client was closed. That's the issue. If this was player 18, then we connected someone, disconnected, connected another one. Okay, let's try to see if this replicates, because if it doesn't replicate, then I cannot do anything about it. So let's start the client. All right. Oh my god, this TMX problem is so annoying. So we start a client, we disconnect them. Okay, it just died instantly, so it just died instantly, so I'm not really sure what I think about that. So like we connected 4, then we connected 5, then tried to disconnect 5, and it instantly died. It didn't show message here of client was disconnected. So like on server inside of receive, right, it didn't even get this client buffer. Client buffer, like a client buffer is created on accept, I think. Yeah, on accept. Okay, so here we iterate over all the buffers. Right, we iterate over all the buffers. And if the buffer sockfd is equal to sockfd, like I don't even know, let's just say if is void client buffer then abort. Let's see if, I don't know, that's possible, although it shouldn't be. So we have like 2 clients as usual. They don't. Okay, so it's not that. Right, I guess it's not that the client buffer is null. Can you new IO out int sockfd out string? Let's just print something. I mean, yeah, sure, it's gonna, print a lot of stuff. So yeah, it shows those 2, right? Like if we stop this one, which was 4, it just died. Once it started to receive only on 5, so it stopped receiving on 4. That's good. Which is good, right? But I mean, I would expect that the last message that we get from from 4, let's say, out int, let me just do buffer length. I'm curious about that. Like the last message that we get from it's negative 104. Whoa. So basically when can that happen, right? When can that happen is in Linux. We passed in this, so return, but I have no idea how. The buffer length can be negative, that's funny. I mean, yeah, sure, it's the buffer length is the status code. So what does Linux 104 status, what is this? Connection reset. Well, I guess what I should actually do is if buffer length is smaller or equal than 0, that's when we are gonna do a disconnected message. And yeah, and client this connected.